Tomas, just what did you make of the team's performance tonight?
I didn't think it was very good. In the beginning, we gave up way too many second shot opportunities. I think they scored from their first 41 points. 20 of them were second shot opportunities, and we know we have a very small roster at the moment. Don't have a legitimate five-man in there because of the injuries, and we got to do a better job of as a team to put a body on the bigs and keep them off the glass, and then. Overall, offensively, this was one of the games that we've really struggled against the switches. We don't have the inside advantage that we had before, and can't really rebound, and there's no mismatches created by that. So we got to work on that.
I know with coaching, you've talked about, trying to have a team that can sort of run itself with interchangeable parts. But do you, in a situation like this late in the season, I guess, let players make mistakes more frequently without, harping on them in the moment, or do you coach any differently in that way?
Um, I would say that it's one thing to make like mistakes of effort or focus, but we have a ton of guys who've maybe had one or two practices who like it's one thing to know in theory what we are supposed to do, and we've basically covered the very basic stuff, and then there's stuff that comes up during the game that's specific to each opponent, and try to do that during the shoot-arounds, obviously, to cover as much as possible, but it's very hard to be mad at those things, like if it's an execution thing. Now, if it's somebody not sprinting back, not giving everything they have in on defense or not sharing the ball, those are very different type of errors, and I feel like those need to be corrected right away.
Would you say this has tested you, or like tested maybe some of your philosophy or your thinking at all, like first season as an NBA coach?
In what way?
Just have you thought about the way you thought about coaching before, and now facing a situation like this where you can't replace all of these players that have been injured? Does it change, I guess, the way you approach the season? Does it make you think about the ways you've had success in the past, if it'll continue to work going forward? Does it change anything like that?
I think any good coach thinks about that every day, and you think about what are the things we need to do better and what are the things we need to do different.
Coach, back here, obviously it's a disadvantage whenever you're having a small lineup going against other big players trying to get the boards and stuff. But it's not impossible to get those rebounds. What do those smaller guys have to do in order to have more success getting those rebounds?
Most of the time, it starts already before the rebound. It's always more difficult if you're in rotation. But even then, you got to be the person that hits first. That's generally the one who has the upper hand in contact situations. And we also need to do a better job of getting the best rebounders out of there and then gang rebound with the guards.
So with Taylor Hendricks, one of the guys acquired at the trade deadline, you've kind of had him in different roles. You have him as a guy that is defending primary ball handlers at high pickup points, but you're also, having him kind of anchor the defense a little bit as a guy that can close the gap a little bit with the size disadvantage. Just what have you learned about his game over the past couple of weeks, and what areas are you looking to tap into this season?
Well, Taylor's been very, very disruptive defensively. He has a 7'2" wingspan. He's used that to his advantage and to the team's advantage in order to create deflections and steals. Our numbers have picked up tremendously with him, with Meshack, with Scotty coming back. So that's been one of the things that has triggered our fast breaks today. We didn't get a lot of that, but Taylor's been good in those situations. He's been a very positive influence on the whole team, and his also versatility with his size and his skill set helps us, like you said, in both ends.
I know it's a small sample size, but what's your critique of Scotty's play so far since returning?
My critique?
Yeah.
He missed basically the whole summer because of the toe. Then he missed about 6 months after that injury. So he's working himself into game shape. Still one of those guys that wanted to come back as soon as possible, and we're trying to keep his minutes kind of in, let's say, incrementally increase them, not to destroy his body at this point. But Scotty's making progress just like everybody else.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.